This very week, thousands of students across Pennsylvania are taking those standardized tests. The idea is to assess how well schools are teaching and how well students are learning. But do these tests work, and are they worth the cost? Our investigator, Dennis Owens, has been looking into it. Dennis.
Hey, Alicia, the federal government requires states to do some type of assessments in elementary and high school. It's up to the states to determine exactly what that is. And in Pennsylvania, leaders have decided on the Pssa and the Keystone exams. Students get the tests, taxpayers get the bill, but critics say it's unclear who gets the benefit.
So you acted like I held you 2 minutes too long, and you ran tripping over yourselves?
Jake Miller teaches 7th grade U.S. history, can be brutally honest with his students.
I was pretty disappointed in that, I'm not going to lie.
And loves his job.
Each kid is a light bulb that I get to watch turn on slowly, or sometimes in a harsh flick that goes from nothing to full-on beam, or others that are dimmers that just keep inching up every year that they're in education. And I really enjoy basking in that light of the students.
That sounds nice, but are students learning what they need to be learning? Are teachers effective? To gauge that, the state gives Pssa tests to elementary and middle school students and Keystone exams in high school.
There needs to be some assessment of how our schools are serving students.
Matthew Stem is a deputy secretary at Pennsylvania's Department of Education who oversees those tests. He's also a former teacher, principal, and superintendent, and a father of school-age test-taking kids.
Not only does testing in Pennsylvania fulfill federal requirements, but additionally it gives us snapshots of performance of our schools, and we want to be sure that parents are equipped with the knowledge of how students in their local schools are performing.
So if you look at your test, put your name on the front.
But Miller, a former teacher of the year, says these tests fail. When it comes to PSSAs, he'd rather pass.
I fear the attribution of what I call AC/DC students. So they get the test and they just go AC/DC, AC/DC, and then they put their head down. If they could listen to AC/DC afterward, they would. But their scores and their lack of care for the test will be attributed to me as an individual. So it makes me look like I'm not working to help them.
And that's wrong.
And that is wrong.
26 of 180 days are spent in either giving these tests or preparing for these tests. So what you're doing is you're limiting the rest of the curriculum.
Senator Andrew Dinniman chairs the Education Committee. He complains about time, the time schools spend on testing and the time it takes to get results.
It's to be used to help the teacher understand where the student is in that moment in time. It doesn't really help the student or the teacher if the results don't come back until the following year.
Not just time, Dinniman also has a problem with the money, which he struggles to follow.
But they keep amending it, which has no one bids, it's just amended. So that contract that was 91.5 ends up at $252 million.
The senator says since 2008, Pennsylvania has spent nearly $750 million with a Minnesota company called Data Recognition Corporation to administer PSSAs and Keystones. Some of the contracts are no bid, some of the paperwork missing, he says, and all of that money, he insists, misspent.
We're spending $80 million a year to test, $1.3 billion over 8 years, and we're not helping these students. All we're doing is stamping failure on them.
Dinniman suggests PA, like several other states, use the SAT to fulfill federal requirements. He says they're cheaper, results come back faster, and students could actually use them for college.
We don't have any input.
Miller also has an idea.
Teachers are the people who invented tests, so let's start there. Right now, we're on the sidelines. The tests are happening to us. The tests are happening to our kids. It's not happening with us or with the kids.
Now, Senator Dinniman has been trying to track the money for more than 2 years. He says he hasn't gotten straight answers or forthright contracts on how much is actually being spent on these tests. The state's spending $80 million a year. That doesn't include what local school districts spend administering and preparing for those tests. According to the Department of Education, Pennsylvania is in the middle of the pack among states when it comes to spending on these exams. Alicia?